Welcome into week 4 of the Fearless Football Forecast, powered by Greenville Utilities. I am Clip Brock, Jordan Anders, Tony Castleberry from the Daily Reflector joining me here on Pirate Radio 1250 and 930 and online at reflector.com. Jordan, good to see you for another week. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
Tony, welcome back.
After I thought I was going to be here every week, I did not follow through on my promise, but now I'm here. I'm here for the rest of these high school football weeks. Let's get this thing done.
Ronnie Woodward suspended after his Pamlico County pick last week.
That's right.
Over Farmville Central. I'll talk more about that. Guys, let's get to the games. 4 games featured this week involving Pitt County schools because we got a couple of Pitt County versus Pitt County matchups, and we'll start there with Ayden-Grifton at Farmville Central. And Jordan, both of these teams coming off a win. Ayden-Grifton got their first of the year last week.
Right, yeah. You mentioned Farmville Central. You know, they're rolling in off a big 54-0 win at Pamlico County, which, you know, in talking to Scott Gardner, he said it was the best they played in a long, long time. And Ayden-Grifton's coming in off of a win where, you know, over a North Pitt team that's struggling a little bit. Ayden-Grifton didn't exactly look the sharpest against them. They turned the ball over a few times and gave up some big plays. So should be, you know, like we mentioned last week, and like we mentioned, anytime that Pitt County teams play, it's always, you know, a little added bit of intrigue to these. But I think this is going to be a fun matchup. I like Farmville Central here though, because I think, like I said, Ayden-Grifton, you know, they got their first win, but maybe even still took a couple steps back last week after, you know, turning the ball over 4 times, and Farmville Central's rolling. They've only allowed, you know, they allowed 6 points a couple weeks ago, shut out Pamlico last week. They're playing really well, so I think it's going to be a fun matchup, but I like Farmville Central.
Tony and Jordan like the Jags over the Chargers on Friday night. All right, South Central is at North Pitt, Tony. Something's got to give here.
Yeah.
Both of these teams come in winless. South Central 0-3. They've scored 14 points all season. North Pitt 0-2. They did not play week 1. So how do you assess this matchup?
Not the start that either one of these teams wanted, obviously, especially North Pitt getting blown out in game 1. I think it was against Kinston. Is that right? And, you know, then played pretty tough against Ayden-Grifton last week, so maybe they're starting to turn that thing around. South Central needs something good to happen, and I think they probably do it this week. I'm going to pick South Central there just because of a classification deal. They have more kids, you would imagine, bigger, stronger, faster kids, so I think South Central gets off the schneid, and North Pitt's still looking for that first win.
You're listening to and watching the Fearless Football Forecast, Week 4, powered by Greenville Utilities on Pirate Radio 1250 and on Pirate Radio 930.
That's right.
And reflector.com.
And there's an app, right?
We're everywhere.
Yeah, worldwide, baby.
D.H. Conley, Jordan, at West Carteret. Vikings looking to bounce back after another wild loss to Washington. The Pam Pack have their number. Can the Vikings bounce back this week?
Man, thought they were going to get over that hump after how well they played the first couple weeks, but like you mentioned, it seems like Washington's got their number, and again, in talking with Nate Connor this week, you know, it was the first time all year that they haven't come out and really started strong. They fell behind, were down 21-0 at halftime, and, you know, clawed back and took the lead and just weren't able to hold it. But you know, this week, if there's a turnaround, you know, we mentioned Washington having their number. You know, they're going to West Carteret. They beat them 6 straight times. So you know, and beat them 27-20 last year. So I think they, you know, West Carteret's 0-3. So I'm going to go with Conley here to go on the road and bounce back a little bit.
Tony, you want to take the upset here? Or you going with the Vikings?
I think Conley wins big. I think they make it 7 in a row there. And that offense continues to impress. And you imagine that they might get back to dropping 40 or 50 points the way they did the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, even in defeat last week, the offense impressing.
Totally,
as you said. All right, game of the week, Tony Castleberry.
Yeah.
Rose at Havelock.
Speaking of offense.
Rampants scored 83 points.
I still can't believe that.
83 points.
It's insane.
I think they just scored another touchdown.
83. They have 90 points. Rampants, they're taking on Havelock, and I'm not great at math, but if my math is correct, Havelock has outscored Washington, New Bern, and New Hanover 133-19.
Oof.
Tony, Rampants or Rams?
That is a tough pick there, and this is one of the best games in the state, I think, not just in the East this week. 2 really potent offenses. Havelock has a great defense. Rose's defense not so great in a couple of games. So, I mean, if it's a shootout, I'm taking Rose. If, you know, Havelock's defense is able to keep it a low-scoring game, which I think they will, I'm picking Havelock. So for that reason, and because Havelock's at home, I got to pick against the Rampants this week.
Jordan, your thoughts?
Tony beat me to it.
I'm smart.
I mean, they, you know, both offenses have been insane, and I was at the game Thursday night with, you know, those And the thing about it was just it was impressive the way that they did it with, Asa Alexander throwing the ball, E.J. Harris running the ball. I mean,
Cornell Powell being Cornell Powell.
Exactly, got another kick return from him. But like Tony mentioned, it's one of those things we're looking at. The fact that Havelock has only given up 19 points in 3 games.
Yeah.
I mean, they've shown that they can clearly score, and Rose has shown that they can score, but not that they can stop anybody. So I'm gonna go with Havelock because I think there's just eventually, and I think we said the same thing about Conley last week. Eventually, you got to show you can stop somebody.
Right.
The picks are in. Jordan and Tony both like Farmville Central over Aiden Grifton. They both like D.H. Conley over West Carteret. They both like Havelock over Rose. Tony is taking South Central.
I am.
And Jordan, you're taking North Pitt.
We differed on a pick.
We did.
Congratulations, gentlemen. We will reconvene here next week on the Fearless Football Forecast powered by Greenville Utilities here on Pirate Radio 1250 and 930 and online at reflector.com. Jordan, Tony, enjoyed it, and we'll see you next week.
No doubt.